Henri van Breda, 20 years old, was born in Pretoria, South Africa on November 1 in 1994. In 2006 his family moved to Perth, Australia. Henri's parents were Martin, age 54, and Teresa, age 55. Henri had two siblings. An older brother, Rudy, born on July 10 in 1992. And an younger sister, Marley, born on October 12 in 1998. Both of Henri's siblings were also born in Pretoria, South Africa. In 2011 Henri's brother, Rudy, started tertiary studies at the University of Melbourne, where he studied mechanical engineering. On October 27 in 2012 Martin, Henri's father, purchased a home in Buderim, Queensland. In 2013 Henri enrolled at the University of Melbourne to study physics. Martin van Breda was well accomplished. He was a successful businessman, who had directorships in over 25 companies. He founded a security tracking company called Netstar as well as Woodhill College. Martin noticed that the education standards were lowering, so he decided to open a private school with much higher standards. He owned the Australian subsidiary of international property group Engel and Vulkers. Teresa van Breda studied computer science at Rand Afrikaans University, now known as the University of Johannesburg. She previously worked at IBM. The family decided to move back to South Africa when Martin opened another school in South Africa called Edugrow. The project needed his full attention, and Teresa wanted to move back due to missing her family that lived there. In March of 2014 Marley enrolled in Somerset College in South Africa. She was the first to arrive in South Africa. In August 2014, Henri dropped out of college. He was having some psychological problems attributed partly to drug use. Late in 2014 Martin purchased their affluent home on 12 Gosk Street, in De Zaal's Golf Winelands estate. The home was in a gated community with a security guard as well as motion cameras. Martin and Teresa moved into their South Africa home on December 1 in 2014. In December of 2014 Rudy was home for a visit at the family home for a summer holiday break. He was due to return back to college at the end of February. Henri arrived at the family home in mid-December of 2014 for the holidays. Henri was planning to travel to Natal, Brazil for a scuba diving trip later in the year. On January 27 in 2015 Henri van Breda called emergency services telling the dispatcher that a well-built black man wielding an axe attacked his family. Let's listen to his call to emergency services.
107, what is your emergency?
I need an ambulance. Lots of,
You need an ambulance?
Yes, please.
What's your name, sir?
Henri van Breda.
Henry. What's the contact number you're phoning from?
My home phone number, but I'm not sure what the home phone number is. My cell phone. We're at 12 Hosker Street, please.
What is this number that you're phoning from? Is there someone else that can speak if you're not able to?
No,
Who else is in the house?
there's no one else.
I need the contact number, please.
Yeah, okay. 021
021
8800
8800
493.
493, and you need the ambulance to go to what?
Number 12 Hosker Street.
Hoske.
Hosker. G-O-S-K-E.
G-O-S. What area is this?
It's in Stellenbosch, and it's in the Delta Estate.
Number 12 Hoske Street,
Yes.
Stellenbosch.
Yes.
I'm not picking it up for Stellenbosch. I'm picking it up for Portsmouth Molmison.
We're in the Delta Winelands Anthem Estate. D-E, and another word, Z-A-L-Z-E.
C-E-Z-A-L-Z-E.
Yeah, D-E.
I'm not picking it up for Stellenbosch. What area in Stellenbosch are you in?
I don't know. That's all the We're in Zolta Island. It's an estate. It's a security estate.
Are you sure it's 12 Oscar Street?
Yes,
Oscar
absolutely.
is in Peterson, eh? And you're saying you are from Stellenbosch.
Yes.
What? And you don't know what area in Stellenbosch?
I'm not sure how much more specific I need to be.
88000493.
Yeah.
Just check the number. On police system, that number picks up. I'm picking up Buff Street, number 4
No.
in Stellenbosch.
Yeah. Can you please just send an ambulance or more than one ambulance to the Zolta Island in Stellenbosch?
The Zolta.
Yeah. Can you find that, please?
The Zolta. First, they're going to ask you the same thing that I'm asking you, because you give me two different addresses. The Zolta in Wineland in Stellenbosch.
The Zolta Island is the estate. Stellenbosch is the town. And Hosker Street, number 12.
Okay, Hosker Street, number 12. Is there a school or church near where you stay? The landmark.
There's just the estate clubhouse, I guess, or the golf course.
And what else?
There's also the golf course.
You need the main road as you drive
The main road, I think it's the
What?
R44.
R44.
I think so, yeah, between Somerset West and Stellenbosch.
On the R44, is there a garage, a school, a church near to where you stay?
There's just across from the there's a mall.
What?
Eikersstad Mall. No, not Eikersstad Mall. There's a BP across from me.
Gosh. Going to the Mesa, you say there's a BP.
Yeah.
Is that all you know, the BP garage? No other shop near in your area?
Okay, try there's also golf club on my phone's maps, that's what it's called.
The golf club.
Yeah. It's the estate next to Techno Park.
Next to Techno Park.
It's by Jamestown as well.
Jamestown.
Yeah.
What is Jamestown?
Jamestown's the next suburb next to us.
What? And you, the patient?
No, my family is someone attacked my family.
Hey?
Someone has attacked my family in my house.
Okay, so you need the police or the ambulance.
And an ambulance, please. Yeah.
Now who is injured?
I think everyone.
Everyone in your house?
Everyone, 4 people, yes.
Adults, 2 adults?
2 adults and 3 adults and 1 teenage girl, yes.
What are the injuries?
Head injuries, I
Are they conscious?
don't think so. My sister's moving, but that's it.
Suspects still on scene, these, sir?
Sorry?
Are there any suspects on scene?
No, they ran away.
With what were they attacked?
An axe. It was. I think I blacked out and I've just woken up.
With an axe. Okay, stay on the line. I'm going to speak to the police.
Thank you, but please send an ambulance as quickly as possible.
Yes. And you're the only one that's conscious. You know,
Yes.
the others are unconscious. Oh,
Yes.
I'm going to speak to police to check on your number where you are. If you don't know your street name, you say.
The street name is Hosker Street.
Okay, I'm not picking it up on the contact number that you're giving me. Henry,
Yeah.
I've got ambulance services on the line now.
Okay.
So, he gave me a few different addresses. The one he's going to go with, he says it's 10 Alleman Street in Stellenbosch.
Yeah. If you go to 10 Alleman Street, are you sending one there?
Okay, tell me, what's the street name?
My street name is Goske. Or Goske.
Okay. Okay, die straatnaam daar wat die geval is.
Ja, ja.
Wat is het pad naam? Goske.
Goske Street.
G-O-S-K-E.
Ja. In Stellenbosch.
G-O-S?
K-E, ja.
K-E. It's a street name.
Ja.
Trying to check this. Hold on for me. Krijg je deze eruit? No. I get it for good.
If you just, okay, number 10 Element is just past my street. If you send an ambulance to...
Is it Anemone or Alaman?
Alaman.
Okay, spel dat even mee gauw en wil ik die opkrijgen?
A-double-L.
A-double-L.
E-N.
E-N.
A-double-N.
A-double-N.
Alaman met 2 N's.
I'm not picking up that. No, I'll make sure. Let me just write here on the thingy. This is number 10, yeah? Alaman.
Do you get any Alaman Street?
No.
Because if you send someone there, then I can meet them in the road.
Alaman Street. Not Anemone, it's Alaman.
Yeah.
And this, which area in Stellenbosch is it?
It's in Results.
But it's not. What boat? Wat de area in Stellenbosch is het? Results.
Results Golf Estate.
Z-A-L-T-S-E. Z-E?
Yeah. Z-E. Yeah.
Z-E?
So it's
Z-A?
Z-A. L-Z-E.
Zalze, okay.
Yeah.
Golf Estate.
It's a Golf Estate.
Golf
Really
Estate.
estate type thing, yeah.
Okay. Okay, what kind of injuries is there?
My family we were attacked by a guy.
Oh. Was it act? Unconscious, it is. Unconscious, huh?
Yes, and bleeding from the head.
Okay. Okay, just wanted to get the right thing here. Oh, okay, you see your reference number is 0312. 0312. Yeah, you said the phone number is 072 835 2802.
Yeah, can you...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it says number 10 Alaman Street, South Golf Estate in Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So we'll send it. You just keep your phone open in case they get lost.
Yeah, can you...
Okay. Yeah,
they'll on my mobile phone.
Okay.
On my mobile phone, I'll be out in the street. And I'll
Okay.
the ambulance there.
Okay then. Okay, thank you.
How long will the ambulance take?
It won't be too long. They'll send the ambulance out as soon as possible. Okay then.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
It takes an astonishing 5 minutes before the operator can get the correct address to send the ambulance to. Henri does not give any sense of urgency, and it's well into the call before he lets her know of the severity of the injuries to his family. When police and emergency services arrived at the scene, they found Henri in a pair of boxers and blood-soaked socks. Inside, police found Teresa's body on the landing with her feet dangling off the side of the staircase. Marley was found nearby her mother. Rudy's body was found on the floor in his bedroom in a pool of blood, near the dog's bed. Slumped across Rudy's blood-drenched bed is his father Martin, face down. All had deep wounds to their heads, necks and backs. Both parents and Rudy were pronounced dead on the scene. Marley was still holding on but was in dire condition. She had deep head wounds and a severed jugular. She was rushed to the hospital where she received emergency treatment. Henri had only superficial wounds. 2 scratches across both sides of his chest area, a puncture wound in his abdomen that did not penetrate through to his stomach cavity, and some scratches to his arm. None of his injuries were life-threatening. Police began an extensive investigation. They discovered that there was no forced entry. The blood on Henri's socks matched that of his parents and brother. Marley was in a coma, and spent several weeks in the hospital receiving numerous surgeries. She had to go through intensive physiotherapy. Eventually she returned to school. She was kept away from her older brother, both of which stayed with separate family members. Marley has retrograde amnesia, meaning she cannot remember anything about the attacks. In June of 2015 the Western Cape High Court ruled that Marley be placed in the care of her uncle and aunt. Henri gave a full written statement. Here is the statement. Myself and my brother Rudy was sleeping in one room on the first floor. My sister Marley was sleeping also in her room alone, and also the first floor. My brother was asleep, and I was still on my laptop in my room watching the television series called One Piece, and it was on the internet until 3 AM, and then I started to listen to music on my cell phone to get to sleep. I then took out my earphones, and put my phone on my bedside table. Then I decided to go to the toilet, and took my phone with me in my pocket. I then went to the toilet, and closed the toilet door after me while I was inside. While I was inside the toilet I heard a noise from outside, and can also hear the noise was coming from the room where my brother was sleeping, because the noise was close. I opened the toilet door slightly, and saw in the dark something that was hitting Rudy. I then stand there afraid to go out of the toilet. I then started to shout for help. My father then arrived at the room, and turned on the lights, and then I saw that this person had an axe in his hand, and that was the item he was hitting Rudy with on the bed. My father Martin then saw the whole thing happening, and my father then jumped on the person, and then the person was hitting my father with the axe. I was still standing in the bedroom, with the lights on looking at what is happening in front of me. My father then collapsed in my room where this person was attacking him. After the person was assaulting my father, I heard my mother Teresa's voice, and I can hear that she was in the passage, and this person went out of the room to the passage where my mother was standing. I can hear that this person was busy assaulting my mother in the passage. I then went out of the toilet, and still in the bedroom walked towards the front door, but did not go out of the bedroom. I don't see the passage where Teresa was from here. While I was in the room I noticed that same person came inside my room again, and then he looked at me, and then he laughs at me, and then he started to attack me with the axe. He had the axe holding it in his right hand. We then started to fight with each other in the room, and then I managed to take the axe from him. I then stepped a little back, and then I saw the person pull out a knife, and then attacked me again, and then I grabbed his right arm with my left hand, and then pulled him to the side of my body, and then I felt that he stabbed me in my left side of the body where my ribs are, and then I hit the person with the blunt side of the axe at the back of his body at his right shoulder, and then he left me, and then I took the knife out of my body, that was still stuck in my body. The person started to run. I saw the attacker near the middle landing of the flight of stairs. I am not a fast runner, and did not think I would be able to catch him. I then threw the axe at him. I cannot recall exactly where I was on the stairs when I threw the axe. I also did not see where or what the axe struck. During my pursuit of the attacker, I lost my footing and fell down the stairs. I do not know what made me fall, but my fall was quite severe. I got up and moved towards the kitchen area. I saw that the kitchen door was open. At that stage, I did not know how many persons had been in the house, but there must have been at least 2. I went out the back door only far enough to look down the side wall of the house. I could not see anyone and went back inside the house. I then realized that I had my phone on me in the pocket of my sleeping shorts. Although I have no independent recollection thereof, I assume that I must have placed my phone in the pocket of my pants when I got up from the toilet. I wanted to call the emergency services, but I had no idea of the number. I then tried to call my girlfriend Bianca but could not get hold of her. I cannot recall whether it rang or whether it went straight to voicemail. I also tried to Google the emergency number on my phone. I recall seeing that the light of the downstairs study was on. I started going up the stairs, and could hear Rudy in the bedroom. As I moved past the middle landing of the stairs, towards the top, I saw Marley moving about on the top landing lying next to my mum. My mum was not moving. The last thing I recall seeing is Marley and my mum. I then lost conscious. I am unsure whether it was due to the shock or to the injuries that I sustained when I fell down the stairs or a combination of both. I later woke, lying on the stairs. I am unsure how long I was unconscious, but from the light outside I could see that it was already light. Initially I was disorientated, and not at all sure that what I remembered was real. I then saw Marley move. She was lying next to my mum on the landing upstairs. I could also hear what sounded like Rudy making gurgling sounds in the room. I also recall seeing blood on the vertical side of one of the stairs where I had lain. I assumed that this must have been my own blood. I went down the stairs and picked up the landline phone because I wanted to phone the ambulance. I looked at the emergency numbers on the fridge door, but they did not appear to me to be of any assistance. I then found an emergency number on my mobile phone, and tried calling that number from my mobile phone. I am unsure exactly how many times I tried calling, but from my cell phone records provided by the state it appears that I tried calling the number twice, both times unsuccessfully. I then decided to call the same number on my landline from the cordless telephone that was lying on the kitchen counter. At that stage I was panicking. I was concerned that if I panicked on the phone, I would not be able to successfully communicate with the operator. I then lit a cigarette in the kitchen to try and remain calm whilst I was dialing the emergency number on the landline from the cordless telephone, and got through to the operator. This person who attacked my family was well built and strong. He was 1.86 meters tall and had on dark jeans, a black jumbo jersey, black gloves, and had on a homemade dark grey mask. I only saw his eyes the time he was in the house. It will be difficult for me to identify the person if I see the person's whole face, but will recognize his eyes and voice. I sustained some bruises on my body, and also a stab wound at the left side of my body at my ribs. I had no major arguments with my parents. I had no arguments with my brother or sister before. Henri van Breda waited nearly 3 hours before he called emergency services for his family. He claims he was unconscious for part of that time, but evidence discovered in the kitchens revealed he smoked 3 cigarettes. Further investigation revealed Henri was possibly cut off from his allowance due to his father finding out he was using drugs. After a year and a half of investigations, police called Henri's lawyer to advise her that her client would be arrested unless he turns himself in, which he did on June 13 in 2016. On June 14 in 2016, Henri van Breda appeared in Stellenbosch Magistrate Court facing 3 charges of murder and 1 attempted murder charge. Bail was set at 100,000 South African rand, which is the equivalent of $6,300 US dollars, or £4,655. Henri was released under the condition that he report to his local police station on a regular basis, and not leave Western Cape. In September of 2016, a pre-trial hearing was conducted against Henri van Breda where he pled not guilty. In his testimony at the hearing, he told the court that he and his family were attacked by an axe-wielding black man, wearing black clothes, dark gloves, and a balaclava-type mask. Henri's defense was allowed to sell the family's Queensland home to fund his defense. In the meantime, Henri is out enjoying life as though nothing horrible ever happened. He even went to a wine festival with his new girlfriend. He went to parties and all sorts of other activities. On April 14 in 2017 the trial against Henri van Breda began. During the trial a video was shown to the court by the prosecution depicting police tape, bloody footsteps, blood spatter all over the floors and lower walls. A kitchen drawer is shown open where the knife was taken. A pack of torn open cigarettes on the kitchen counter with 3 cigarettes burned out on the kitchen floor, and 3 unlit cigarettes nearby on the floor. The stairs leading to the second floor is bloody. A bloody axe lies on the landing. Forensics expert Captain Candice Brown took the stand. Brown is an expert in ballistics at the SAPS Forensic Science Laboratory in Platkloof. Brown testified that Henri's account of the axe being thrown from upstairs landing on the sharp side and that it would leave such a deep impact mark in the wall was highly unlikely when Newton's law of movement is applied. Paramedic Christian Koegelenberg said the scene he witnessed at the Van Breda household in Cape Town was the worst he had seen during his 39-year career. Dr. Daphne Anthony is a medical pathologist based at Tygerberg. Dr. Anthony performed autopsies on Martin, Teresa and Rudy van Breda on January 29 in 2015. In all 3 the cause of death is listed as head injuries. The autopsy on Martin van Breda proved that it was a surprise attack. His injuries were from behind, and there was no defensive wounds. He was struck with considerable force in the back at the bottom of the neck area, and in the back of the head. The wounds were large. It was determined his death was slow. There was blood in the airway and lungs, indicating he inhaled for quite some time after the attacks. The autopsy on Teresa van Breda showed defensive wounds. She had skull fractures, and bleeding on the brain. She was struck with such force she fell face down, breaking her nose. She also had axe wounds to her back. It was determined there was no blood in her stomach or airways, concluding that her death was quick. Dr. Anthony states that Rudy had defensive wounds, and he had head and neck wounds that were inflicted by a sharp object. He had deep, large lacerations, so deep they went well into the brain. Blood was found in his stomach, meaning he was alive for some time, until his lung eventually collapsed, and more than likely suffered significantly. Marley's wounds to the head and neck were consistent with those of her mother, father and brother. Marley also sustained significant defensive wounds to her hands and extremities, showing the fight she put forth to stay alive. At the trial, Dr. Anthony was asked, who suffered the most violent attack. She answered Rudy, then Martin, then Teresa. Dr. Anthony theorizes that Rudy was ambushed while asleep in his bed. He was hit twice in the head before trying to stop the attack. He raised his hand after the second blow and sustained an injury to his little finger, which forced his nail to separate from his finger. Martin came into the room to attempt to stop the attack, but Henri was hiding by the door and struck him in the back, just at the neckline. Then as he was falling he was struck again in the head. Teresa heard the attacks and ran to see what was going on. She faced her attacker face to face. She raised her hand in defense, causing a defensive wound to her thumb, but the axe also hit with great force to her head. She was struck again. Marley also heard the commotion and came running, only to come face to face with her brother wielding an axe. She fought valiantly but was eventually struck in the head and neck. Dr. Anthony said it's odd that the family dog was apparently present, and unharmed, and nobody has reported hearing him bark, or that he didn't try to protect anyone during the attack on the family. This would be unusual if the attack was made by a stranger. The house cleaner told the court that the dog walked around the home freely, didn't bark much when she arrived for work, and usually slept in Henri's bed. During the investigation, police discovered a mobile phone at the scene that was used to search details of an infamous US axe killing not long before the murders. Cornelius Engelbrecht assisted with the forensic analysis of the electronics in the Van Breda home. He testified that Henri made several calls in the early hours of January 5 in 2015 to his friend Bianca van der Westhuizen. However, she never answered any of the calls. Henri then sent her a text saying, "Emergency, please pick up your phone." Dr. Johan Dempers took the stand and told the court that it is not a common occurrence for a group of people to be attacked, and the wounds of those injured to differ significantly. He testified that Henri's wounds are consistent with self-inflicted wounds. He continued that he finds it hard to believe that the assailant would only scratch Henri while hacking the rest of the family with an axe, leaving deep slash wounds. He went on to state that all of Henri's superficial injuries are on the left side of his body, leading one to believe he injured himself with his right hand, and him being right-handed is not disputed.
Bothers me, I don't understand. You're in the toilet, and you saw the intruder attacking Rudy.
Sorry?
And then your father came in. Huh?
Just, can you
Your
repeat?
father could have gone around the bed and tried to disarm the intruder.
Correct.
He didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
He went the other way and fell over Rudy.
Well, he went straight at the guy.
He tried to protect Rudy.
Yes, he took a beeline for the space between Rudy and
The other option of going around the bed and disarming the attacker.
I suppose, yes.
If he had done that, he would have saved the entire family.
Yes, if that had happened, I may have been able to, that may have given me the courage to help.
Sorry, what did you say?
That may have given me what I needed to be able to overcome what I was going through and be able to help.
It seems to me that he fell over Rudy in an endeavor to protect him.
Yes.
Authorities speculate that Martin van Breda, being a high achiever, expected his children also to be high achievers, and work hard in studies. When Henri dropped out of college, his father was not happy with him and voiced his opinion to his son. It later came out that he was actually expelled from the university. This caused tension within the home. When Henri came home from college for the weeks leading up to the murders, he began planning to murder his family. On the day of the murders, a neighbor heard male voices arguing for quite some time between 10 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. at night. It's theorized this was Henri and his father. Later, when the family were all in bed, Henri retrieved the axe and started his murdering frenzy on his brother Rudy, and one by one each family member came into his bedroom to see what was happening, and was cornered and murdered. On May 21 in 2018, Henri van Breda was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to 3 life terms and 15 additional years for the attempted murder of his sister, as well as another 12 months for obstructing justice for tampering with the crime scene. On June 8 in 2018, he was sent to Drockenstein Correctional Center, where he will serve out his sentence. Henri van Breda was born into an affluent family with a good standing in the community. It's unknown why, but at some point in January of 2015, Henri either became angry over a fight or he wanted his parents' money and attempted to murder everyone and stage an intruder scene. While his family lay dead and some dying, blood everywhere, he didn't bother taking his family's pulses or comfort his then dying brother or sister. He was emotionless and showed classic signs of a severe antisocial personality disorder. Most psychopaths with the background Henri has at least learned to fake these sort of emotions, but not Henri. He is stone-faced and couldn't muster even an ounce of emotion or compassion for his family. He's a cold-blooded killer who deserves far worse than any court can give. Luckily, his sister survived the 3 hours he allowed her to suffer. Hopefully she can receive therapy and move forward with her life. May the victims who fell on this night rest in peace. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.
Want to help support the channel you love, and get something in return? Simply purchase some Elizabeth's Chronicles merch. We have coffee mugs, t-shirts, sweatshirts, cozy blankets, beach towels, phone covers and more. Use the coupon code EC10OFF4U and get 10% off your order. The link to order is in the description area below this video. Thanks for helping Elizabeth's Chronicles continue to make the videos you love.